Spectrum TV. Broadening.
Welcome to Spectrum News within the week. I am Emedion James coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at some of the headlines that we have for you today. Presidency dismisses allegation of Tinubu's involvement in opposition crisis. Federal government sets admission age at 16. Plus, U.S. President Donald Trump visits Texas flood zone, defends government disaster response. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. We begin the news this hour from the national scene where the presidency has dismissed allegations that President Bola Tinubu is behind recent disruptions faced by opposition parties in the country, calling the claims unfounded and politically motivated. The special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, stated this during an interview with newsmen. Onanuga reports that the president was interfering with meetings or activities of opposition coalitions, particularly the new alliance between former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Labour parties, B2B, and others under the African Democratic Congress. Recall that opposition leaders had booked for political events were suddenly cancelled and that members of the ADC coalition had to walk a long distance to reach the Shegu Musa Yadadwa Center in Abuja to avoid attracting security attention and risking a blockade. Onanuga therefore rejected claims that the current administration is suppressing dissent or stifling opposition voices. Away from that, Vice President Kashim Shettima has said that about 40% of Nigerian children are facing the scourge of malnutrition. This, Shettima said, has led the President Bola Tinubu-led government to launch a Nutrition 774 initiative to address the menace. The Vice President stated this at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, at the National Summit on Nutrition and Food Security, organized by the House of Representative Committee on Nutrition and Food Security. Shatima, represented by Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Office of the Vice President Ibrahim Hadaja, said the federal government is committed to tackling malnutrition squarely across the state of the Federation. The Vice President, who is also the Chairman of the National Council on Nutrition, disclosed that the Nutrition 774 initiative had been endorsed by the Council and commended the national and state houses of assembly for putting in place a national legislative network on nutrition and food security. Shatima made a case for prioritization of nutrition in the party of government. In a separate development, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has insisted that seat reservations for women in Nigeria's parliament would further strengthen the nation's democracy. Senator Tinubu, while declaring open a session on special seats for women in parliament at the ongoing 2025 NAS Open Week, organized by the leadership of the House of Representatives in National Assembly, Abuja, lamented that women remain significantly underrepresented in all levels of governance, despite making up nearly half of the population. Represented by the chairman, House of Committee on Women Affairs, Khalifat Ogagbara, the First Lady urged lawmakers to use the opportunity of the ongoing constitution review process to legislate seat reservations for women in order to enshrine representation that reflect the strength and diversity of Nigeria, while applauding them and other stakeholders for their efforts so far in championing the cause. In this next report, the federal government has formally set 16 years as a minimum age for admission into Nigerian tertiary institutions. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa announced this on Tuesday during the 2025 policy meeting of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board held in Abuja. Alausa, while declaring the meeting open, emphasized that the age benchmark is now official and non-negotiable. He warned that any admission carried out outside the central admission processing systems would be considered illegal. The minister further stated that heads of institutions found culpable of admission fraud or circumventing caps would be prosecuted in accordance with the law. We move now to the red chambers where the Senate has called on the federal government to rethink its approach to the power sector by ending the indirect enrichment of private electricity distribution companies with public funds. The chairman, Senate Committee on the Environment, Senator Eunice Akintunde, disclosed this at the plenary. Speaking on the floor of the Senate, the lawmakers decried the current practice where government funds are being used to purchase electricity transformers for communities only for the asset to be taken over by discos. The lawmaker described the trend as unsustainable and unjust, adding that the government must develop a structured subsidy regime that truly benefits ordinary Nigerians. The senator also drew attention to what he called a fundamental structural imbalance in Nigeria's power sector. According to him, while generation and distribution have been privatized, the government still retains control of the aging transmission infrastructure and are to be described as underutilized and inadequate. In the meantime, The Senate has removed the suspended Kogi Central Senator Natasha Dragon as the chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora. The Red Chamber announced her removal yesterday during plenary. The suspended senator was immediately replaced by Senator Amir Khan Basi, who represents Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District. Reports say the change is believed to be connected to her unresolved suspension. Recall that Senator Akpotiu Dragon was appointed chair of the Diaspora and NGOs Committee on February 4, 2025, following her early removal as chair of the Senate Committee on Local Content. We move now to the Green Chambers, where the House of Representative Committee on Public Assets has dismissed allegations of corrupt practices levied against the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company by a civil society group, the Association for Public Policy Analysis. President of the civil society organization, Prince Will Okorie, had accused Malcolm of misappropriation of funds, unethical operations, among sundry allegations, while questioning the continued existence of Nelcom 12 years after its privatization. The chairman of the subcommittee, Dapo Ismaili, said at the resumed investigative hearing on the petition that the panel took the allegations seriously and immediately launched a comprehensive investigation to unmask what truly transpired. The Bauchi lawmaker said Nelcom's existence is backed by the provision of the Nigerian Electricity Act 2023, a position he said contradicts the position of the practitioner that the agency to have folded up in 2017 after the privatization of the power holding company of Nigeria. Where the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has said it will, in the next few days, deploy a new portal for the registration of new political parties to ensure a seamless process. The National Commission and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekong, announced this in a statement in Abuja. The statement noted that the Commission will conclude the final testing of the portal next week before deployment. It added guidelines to facilitate the filings of applications under the PFRAS portal. In a separate development, River State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Iboite Ibas, has charged the newly sworn in permanent secretaries to uphold public trust by strictly adhering to accountability, due course, and effective policy implementation. Ibas, who gave the charge during the swearing in of 8 newly appointed permanent secretaries in Port Harcourt, emphasized the important role of civil service leadership in ensuring good governance and institutional integrity. According to the administrator, the appointments are both strategic and timely as the exits of seasoned officers have created administrative gaps. Ibas underscored the need for new appointees to drive public sector reform by embracing innovation, digital transformation, and improved coordination across ministries, also warning against financial mismanagement, stressing that fiscal discipline and transparency are non negotiable. He further urged them to challenge the bureaucratic status quo, foster excellence, and help rebuild public confidence in the civil service through ethical leadership and result oriented administration. From the judiciary now, where Justice Mary Anigi of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory within the week fixed July 17 for ruling on an application filed by immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, seeking to travel out of the country on health grounds. At the resumed hearing of the money laundering case filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against the former governor, his counsel, Joseph Daudu San, told the court that he had filed an application dated 19 June 2025 and filed on June 20, 2025. The counsel said the application was predicted on 13 grounds in the face of the motion and supported by 22 paragraphs affidavit disposed to by Yahaya Bello himself. The EFCC counsel had filed a counter affidavit saying granting the request would delay further proceedings. Meanwhile, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM) has set 150 as the cutoff mark for admission into universities in the country. JAM made a decision within the week during the 2025 policy meeting on admissions held at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja. It said the cutoff mark for colleges for nursing is 140, colleges of agriculture 100, and colleges of education 100. In a separate development, the federal government has released the June 2025 salaries of lecturers and other tertiary institution based workers. Following the release of salaries, branches of the Academic Staff Union of Universities wrote to their members to resume work. Recall that chapters of of the union across certain federal universities had declared a no pay, no work policy following what they described as consistent delay in payment of monthly salaries for 5 months. The delay was attributed to the migration of academics from the IPPIS platform to the Give Me's platform by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. The branch chairperson at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Dr. Haruna Angulu, noted that the members had resumed following the payment of the June 2025 salaries. Meanwhile, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alauso, in a statement, noted that the current atmosphere of stability across tertiary institutions was a result of sustained dialogue, mutual respect, and genuine commitment by the present administration to address the demands of academic and non-academic staff unions. Let's turn the spotlight to Akwa Ibom, where the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Umoino, has renewed his commitment to advancing the rice agenda of his administration. While inaugurating the rice brand and its insignias at the Brand Management and Marketing Office in Uyo, the governor said the brand would promote the image, vision, and ideals of his administration. He also noted that the branding would greatly help register in the minds of the people the developmental vision and focus of his administration and also help attract needed support and collaboration. The Arise brand, according to the governor, will appear in various forms as ties, scarf, tie clips, caps, bangles, and other items. Pastano directed his senior special assistants on brand management and marketing, Ralph Eden, to endeavor to secure and also carry along the renewed hope insignias of the federal government since it all aligns with the vision and trajectory of the state government. The governor assigned a vehicle to the brand management team and directed that it should be properly branded as well and used as a display platform to showcase the various Arise branded items to the public for their support and integration. He also commended Edem for his commitment and dedication to his assignment, assuring him of the government's support and motivation to accomplish more. Earlier, Edem had appreciated the governor for his support on the establishment of the showroom, which has attracted a good number of people to partner and benefit from the programs of the Arise agenda. Government House correspondent Jen Owa reports that The senior special assistant to the governor on brand management and marketing further disclosed that their rice branded items are all customized to accommodate all classes of people of the state in various wearable forms. In the meantime, Akwa Ibom State's Governor Pastor Moino has reiterated his administration's commitment to partner with the Nigerian Air Force (NAF) to enhance security in the state, especially along the waterways. The governor stated this while receiving a delegation from the Nigerian Air Force led by the Air Officer Commanding Mobility Command Yenokwa, Air Vice Marshal Sunday Aneke, on a courtesy visit to his office at the Government House, Uyo. Governor No commended now for his strategic collaboration with other security agencies in curbing insecurity, especially in states within the Mobility Command jurisdiction. Highlighting the state's efforts in maintaining security, he said all the security agencies in the state, including units of the Nigerian Air Force, have been working collaboratively, adding that the synergy has enhanced the security of lives and property in the state. He also acknowledged and appreciated the cooperation and support of the Mobility Command to the state and also thanked the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, for his excellent, diligent, and professional service to the country. The governor said the only missing link in the state was the lack of air assets, which, according to him, was in the works and also in progress. He therefore appealed for the continued support of the force in clearing creeks and isolated islands of sea pirates and other criminals. Earlier in his address, Air Vice Marshal Aneke expressed gratitude to the governor for the support, contribution, and collaboration the command has enjoyed from the state government. He said the state and the force have remained strategic partners for years, which, according to him, has yielded immeasurable peace and stability, as well as economic growth for the state and its people. He also expressed the commitment of NAV to continue working closely with the state government to ensure the safety of lives and property in the state. We'll take a quick break now. After the break, NNPC says security investment to driving up crude production costs. Stay tuned for details on these and many more stories right after the breather. Cyril Ramaphosa has pushed back against the latest wave of trade tariff from the Trump administration, a wave that also targets Pretoria, the only sub-Saharan country on the list. The move from the White House comes as the American government announced that it will be delaying the start of some of its most aggressive import tariffs, which it imposed among others in April on nations around the world. According to a statement published by the South African Presidential Office, South Africa maintains that the 30% reciprocal tariff is not an accurate representation of available trade data. It said in its interpretation of the available trade data, the average tariff for imported goods entering South Africa stands at 7.6%. The statement further noted that South Africa will continue with its diplomatic efforts towards a more balanced and mutually beneficial trade relationship with the United States. So, still in Africa, Libya's president issued a formal state apology to the victims of the country's two civil wars between 1989 and 2003 during an official ceremony. According to reports, an estimated 250,000 people died during the two conflicts, with many more wounded or psychologically broken by rape, massacre, or because they were mutilated or forced to be child soldiers. While the apology is a step in the direction of reconciliation, Liberia's leadership has long been criticized for failing to prosecute the perpetrators of potential war crimes. Prosecutions have taken place in foreign tribunals, notably in Switzerland, France, Sweden, and the United States, but none in Liberia. In 2024, Liberia's government, however, endorsed a vote to set up a long-awaited tribunal of its own. The main challenge in the process is the funding required for the court, which has been estimated at $100 million. On a foreign scene, President Donald Trump defended the state and federal response to deadly flash flooding in Texas on Friday as he visited the stricken Hill Country region, where at least 120 people, including dozens of children, perished a week ago. During a roundtable discussion after touring Kerr County, the epicenter of the disaster, Trump praised both Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem for their response, saying they both did an incredible job. The Trump administration, as well as local and state officials, have faced mounting questions over whether more could have been done to protect and warn residents ahead of the flooding, which struck with astonishing speed in the pre-dawn hours on July 4th, the U.S. Independence Day holiday. Trump reacted with anger when reporters said some families affected by the flood have expressed frustration that warnings did not go out sooner. Let's move now to the Ukraine and Russia war scene where Russia launched a new barrage of drones and missiles in an overnight attack on Ukraine today, targeting the west of the country and killing at least two people in the city of Chernivtsi on the border with Romania. Western Ukrainian city of Lviv, Luxembourg, and Chernivtsi suffered the most due to Russian attacks, and other Ukrainian regions were also hit. Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiha said Russia continues to escalate its terror, launching another barrage of hundreds of drones and missiles, damaging residential areas, killing and injuring civilians, Sabi said in a post on X, reiterating the call for stronger sanctions against Moscow. Still on the foreign scene, a preliminary report depicted confusion in the cockpit shortly before an Air Indian jetliner crashed and killed 260 people last month. After the plane's engine failed, cut-off switches flipped almost simultaneously and starved the engines of fuel. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner, bound for London from the Indian city of Ahmedabad, began to lose thrust and sink shortly after takeoff, according to the report on the world's deadliest aviation accident in a decade released on Saturday by Indian accident investigators. The report by Indian Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau about the June 12 crashes raises fresh questions over the position of critical engine fuel cutoff switches. Almost immediately after the plane lifted off the ground, closed-circuit TV footage showed a backup engine source called a ram air turbine had deployed, indicating a loss of power from the engine. On a business news, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC), Bayo Ojulari, has attributed the country's high oil production costs to massive security investments aimed at safeguarding crude oil pipelines in the Niger Delta region. Ojulari, who spoke in an interview on the sidelines of the ninth Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries International Seminar in Vienna, said Nigeria's current cost of crude production had soared to as high as $30 per barrel, more than double in the global average. Reports say this is 200% higher than the cost of producing the same crude in Saudi Arabia, which is $10 per barrel. The NNPC boss explained that the government had to overhaul crude infrastructure security, working closely with government agencies and local community surveillance groups to safeguard critical oil infrastructure. Still in business, the president of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has doubted the possibility of the state-owned Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna refinery functioning again. Dangote also stated that the refinery, which are under the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, had galled up to $18 billion, yet had refused to work. The businessman spoke while hosting members of the Global CEO Africa from the Lagos Business School after a tour of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery in Lekki, Lagos. According to Dangote, the 650,000 capacity Dangote refinery, which he built after the government of the late President Omar Yar'Adua aborted his acquisition of the government refineries, now has over 50% of the output dedicated to premium motor spirit, also saying that the government refineries committed just 22% of the production to petrol. Many thanks for staying tuned. Let's go on a quick break right now. When we return from the break, UEFA demotes Crystal Palace to Conference League, Tottenham to take the sport. Stay tuned for details of this right after this breather.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governments are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Press on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying tuned. This is Spectrum News within the week. Now to the concluding part of today's stories. On a health news, the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, has announced plans to convene the 7th National Council of AIDS, which will focus on Nigerians' HIV response in the context of evolving global AIDS dynamics. The agency made this known in a statement signed by the chairman of the planning committee, Dr. Daniel Ndwekwe. The event will be held in Lagos, with support from the Lagos State Agency for Control of AIDS, is themed Advancing National Health HIV Sustainability Agenda in a Changing Global Policy on AIDS. The meeting is designed to bring together representatives from government ministries, civil society, development partners, and affected communities with discussions focusing on ensuring the long-term sustainability of HIV prevention, care, and treatment programs nationwide. Still in health, the Association of Community Pharmacies of Nigeria has declared its outright rejection of any legislative or administrative move to subsume the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria (PCN) under a proposed Central Regulatory Authority for Health Facilities. The group warned that such a move would erode decades of professional autonomy, disrupt current pharmaceutical regulatory frameworks, and reverse the nation's recent global gains in drug safety and control. The association leadership, in a no-hold-bar interview with newsmen ahead of its 44th annual international conference, selected for July 22nd to 27 in Oka, Anambra State, expressed deep reservation over the proposed National Health Facilities Regulatory Authority bill currently before the National Assembly. He argued that the major plan embedded in the bill would amount to institutional sabotage, considering the PCN's expanded mandate under the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria's Establishment Act of 2022. We move now to sportswear. The world number one Jannik Sinner will face defending champions Carlos Alcaraz in a block-style Wimbledon final on Sunday as the meet world braces for the latest chapter in their enthralling rivalry. Sinner demolished Novak Djokovic 6-3, 6-3, 6-4 in a center-court masterclass on Friday to reach his first Wimbledon title match and his fifth at the Grand Slams. Just hours earlier, Alcaraz, who has won the last two Wimbledon titles, reached his third successive All-England Club final. The Spanish world number two battled to a 6-4, 5-7, 6-2, 7-8 win against American fifth seed Taylor Fritz. Still in sport, UEFA have demoted FA Cup champions Crystal Palace to the Conference League, with Nottingham Forest to take their Europa League slot. According to the UEFA, Palace was sanctioned after breaching its rules on the multi-club ownership. The rules stated that clubs with the same owner are barred from competing in the same UEFA competition if an individual or ownership group is considered to have a decisive influence over more than one of those teams. Nottingham Forest are expected to replace them in a tournament alongside the Court of Arbitration for the sport have yet to decide. We move now to our entertainment scene where Canadian superstar Justin Bieber has released his sixth album, Swag, yesterday. Comprising 21 tracks totaling 54 minutes, the project marks the return of the 31-year-old singer more than 3 years after his last single, Honest, a duet with Don Toliver. Bieber's comeback follows a period marked by the singer's withdrawal from the media. Last in the news at this hour, Iyabo Oju, a Nigerian actress, has called out her longtime rival, Lizzie Anjorin, on social media. Iyabo Oju issued a warning while alerting the public to hold Anjorin responsible should anything happen to her or her children. This comes just days after her office was courted by fire. Recall that Lizzie Anjorin had earlier announced in a viral video on social media that a defamation case filed against her by Iyabo have been struck out in court. She also accused Iyabo of associating with people who bully her. And that's all we have for you today. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. I am Emily James and you've been watching Spectrum News within the week. Do enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.